Hello, everyone. I'm calling this a new beginning. And if I'm going to call it a new beginning, I just want to make one setting here that makes it work a little better for me. Okay. You'll notice everything looks the same. I'm still getting the new camera, but I have a whole new sound set up. New microphones, actually old microphones, now in the mix, and new headset. I can hear. Getting another one, not as bulky, wireless. Right now, I'm sort of wired in. A little bit here. I'm moving a little bit. I don't think you can see me. Not that you need to see me. We get to see this guy. I just finished teaching one of my students, an adult husband, how to tune the piano. We're in a pandemic, and nobody can get their piano tuned. And boy, when they don't sound good, they don't sound good. I keep mine in tune pretty much all the time. But I had an idea since the piano was open for tuning, and that is to redo my last broadcast, which I'm going to delete. I think it might still be up, but I'm deleting it. The sound was so bad, it made me revamp all of this. So, but basically, the thing I wanted to talk about, I don't think I ever did directly, was the misconceptions people have about the piano. There are so many. Misconception number one is probably the complete, I'll call it ignorance, not to insult anybody, of the pedal, of the damper pedal. People think piano playing is fingers, pushing keys down. Funny enough, it's not that. It really isn't that. Yes, you push a key down, you get a nice sound. You bang it, not so nice a sound, although a really good piano, it pretty much, they make a nice tone. But the thing that people don't know about, and because I have this open, is the concept of the damper pedal. These are called dampers. You can just make them out here. And when I play a chord, you can see three dampers coming up. Hammers come up and hit the string, lifting the damper. When I let go of the keys, the damper falls back on the strings, and makes them stop sounding. It's called damping. Do it the same thing on a guitar when you strum it and then they put the hand over it to stop the strings from sounding. So, what are those dampers there for? Well, for that. Goodbye. But there is a pedal that lifts all the dampers up. You can see them. Take a look. See them going up and down? When that pedal is down and you hit a note, you might be able to tell it sounds different than when I hit it like this. Could be hard online to hear that difference. But the one with the pedal down and the dampers up makes the other strings resonate in what's called sympathetic vibration, thus creating a bigger sound, a fuller sound, not necessarily louder, but just a fuller sound. So when I play a chord like this, without the pedal, you can see all the dampers coming up. You get a sound. It's a nice sound. But two things happen when I use the damper. One of them is just a bigger sound. It fills the room more. It's like deepening in the color on your TV set when you turn the saturation control. The colors get deeper. However, it also does, I would say does something else. It offers something else. It offers that. And what's the deal with that? Don't need to hold it. It's sounding all by itself. Look, Ma, no hands. Now it does not sustain. That's the word we use. Sustain pedal is another name for the damper pedal. And so that's nice also, but it frees our hands up. That's the reason a lot of people say his fingers seem to float over the keys, because they hear all this sound, and yet the fingers look like they're in the air. And people who don't play the piano or know anything about it go, how does he do that? It's like magic. And that's, I think, the biggest confusing thing about watching somebody play the piano when you don't really know anything about the piano. The pedal is, it's not misunderstood, it's just unknown to people. And that's okay for people. But when you're a piano student, that can be disastrous for learning how to play the piano. I've had students come in, studied with somebody else, and took a year or two of lessons. And I say to them, they play something. I go, "Oh, that was kind of nice. You played that sort of well, but you didn't use any pedal." And they look at me and go, "Oh, we never talked about the pedal." Well, that's sort of like taking tennis lessons and you didn't get to the ball yet. You had the racket, but no ball. It's incredulous that that can happen. So now, can you use the pedal too much? Yes, of course you can. Like anything else, food without salt would have no flavor. Food with too much salt can taste awful. So there's a balance, but you got to have it. It's part of it. So when you're playing, there are really three ways you can use the pedal. This is not really a tutorial on pedal, but I just want to make the point that we touch it with the amount it needs. For example, if a kid is playing Twinkle Twinkle, it doesn't call out for a lot of pedal. If he's playing maybe a different version of Twinkle Twinkle that maybe does now there you might add some for the extra harmony at the bottom. Not a lot. I wouldn't do a lot. But if you're playing a piece like and you want that sound, hear it? The pedal has to be down a lot. However, if you held it too much, now you're getting kind of a mess because there's too much stuff going on at one time. You're adding color on top of color on top of color, and you're ending up with, as one of my kids' children's book said, instant brown gravy. We use the pedal to gather color. If I go, you momentarily hear each note, but you don't hear the overall color that's at work. So when you add the pedal, now you've got the full color. Now the next part of that piece goes, so let's call this color, give it a color, primary color, blue. Now we do this color. And let's call that yellow. Okay, when you hold the pedal, okay, now you got green because you let the blue and the yellow mix together. He wanted yellow, pedal too much, you end up with a green. Okay, so that's kind of a good way to think of it because we don't want to mix colors that the composer did not intend. Now, if he intended that, that's fine. If he wanted that other color, and made that clear, most piano players would change that pedal. Now, speaking of the change, here's the deal with that. Watch my dampers when they go up and down when I do this. I'm going to start with them up, pedal down. Now, second I hit this new color, I let it stay up until I hit that and bring them right back up again. I had them go down quickly to drown out the blue, but I waited till I started the yellow to get rid of the blue. So that's called syncopated pedaling. It's legato pedaling is the other name. So watch those dampers. You saw me drop it a few times in there. So it requires what I call an up down, the foot going up and down. And the foot is going up when I hit the new color, then immediately back down again. You'll see the dampers go up and down rather quickly. I'm sorry, go down and up rather quickly. And I did two at the end there, so we didn't get too much instant brown gravy. All right, so that's probably one of the first misconceptions about the piano. That's the biggest one. I would say it's the biggest one, because we do things sometimes that don't really sound playable, and everybody uses the expression, "You must have awfully big hands." Now, I once asked one of the great pianists of the 20th century, Earl Wild. We had dinner. I did dinner with him, and I said to him, "Earl, how big are your hands? They sound massive when you play." And he goes, "Well, hold yours up." We put them together. His were not really any bigger than mine. He said, "You do that because of the pedal. You can redistribute notes and make your hands sound amazingly big, of course, but that's not your reason for playing great music. Is to people think you have big hands, but people will think that, and you really you don't need them. So when you do stuff like that, people think you're holding every note down. That brings us to misconception number 2, which I have a name for well, it's a misconception when students start playing the piano. I call it the legato curse. We are taught to play legato early on in piano. A legato is simply when one note goes smoothly to another note. You don't have this. That's called staccato, legitimate type of playing and music. But when you want a legato, people know that they're smoothly connected. And what happens to people is they start thinking that every note in a piece is smoothly connected to the next note. Well, first of all, that's not true in general for any instrument. But on the piano, we have this thing about, well, my hand is here, and I have to play a G next. So I'll put this on it because I can do it smoothly. It's not the consideration that's important. And we better not start thinking like that, or we get caught up in all kinds of legato mess. It depends on where you are, and remember now what can happen. Let me give you a very good example. Let's say I play a scale, and I want it very legato, but I don't want it there. I want it here. G, F, E, D, C. I want to play it that way. Very legato. I can't reach those. I can't reach from here to here. Okay. I can hardly do it with this finger. But then if I do that, I still have to now go to the E here. So my pedal, oops, let me do it right. That was played very legato, but watch my dampers at how I'm doing it. You can see I'm using the pedal to make the connections. That's how we get away with a lot of stuff on piano. We go into some notes, and the group, we end with a short note, go into a long one. But the short note was pedaled. And we thought it was all connecting these things with having a finger there ahead of time. That's not the name of the game. If you look at any pianist play any piece, you'll notice he's playing a lot. If you can see it, he's coming off the keys almost always. Yet you're hearing this beautiful, smooth music coming out. Even well, let me show you a couple of examples. Okay, there, my right hand. Okay, it was. I didn't play it legato. Now I'll do the pedal. My hand will look exactly the same. Okay, so the hand wasn't playing legato the whole time. Let's take a Bach piece. This is where I use a little touches of pedal. I'll play it first the way I play it, without the pedal. This is the way I play this piece. You all know it. It's on the demo on every keyboard out there. You know the piece. Now that's very dry. Bach played a harpsichord, probably what he played. Even on the harpsichord, if you hold notes down, it still doesn't have the sound of a piano, when the real piano sound, which is achieved with the pedal. So this is the way I play it. And watch the dampers. You can see where I'm using the pedal. Just a little table salt, not a lot. Little touches of pedal, legatoing it through. And that's, remember what I'm showing you now. I'm not showing you the pedal. I'm showing you that we don't hold keys down and that we don't connect everything smoothly from finger to finger. The early books, the early method books, are notorious for getting us to think that the slightest move somewhere is a big deal. Now, think of when a pianist is playing something and you've looked at them. Did you see them sitting and playing like this? Is that what it looks like? Like this? Or, oh, I got to move there. You don't see that. That's not what you see. You see a lot of dynamic, a lot of motion, dynamic meaning motion. You look at a left hand in ragtime. Yeah. You see this without the pedal. And so the pedal is doing the stuff that makes it sound like it's longer. So we don't think of this at all. We don't think much of that. A lot of passages are staccato. Okay, it's the end of the Schumann first movement of the concerto. He does this thing. It's all short notes. There's a little legato. There's a little legato involved, but the notes aren't lasting long. Okay, they're, and then this guy at the end, it's all short notes coming off the keys with the pedal. Okay. Oh, whoa. Oh my God. This guy's got big hands. No, we don't. We make it sound like that though. So, I'm thinking of another example here. Give me a second. What was I thinking of? The Chopin Prelude, number 20. Pianists play this. We'll be talking about this technically with thrusts. This uses a technique called thrusts. Now, you certainly wouldn't want to hear a night of that, okay? That's pretty awful, actually. But here it is with the pedal. Okay? That was the basis of Barry Manilow's Could It Be Magic? But you can hear the magic of the pedal. Paderewski, the great Polish pianist, called it the soul of the piano, the pedal. I once had girls playing at a little thing called the Coffee House, which was talent thing, and for like third, fourth grade. And they were playing pieces that really demanded the pedal. But they told me after they had played, they said, Jeff, the pedal wasn't working, but they had us play it anyway. I said, next time you refuse and you tell them, I play a piano. This doesn't have a pedal. It's not a piano. So I can't play because I don't have a piano. Nobody could play the piano without the pedal. It's impossible. So anyway, the time, I want to keep these to the length of a sitcom. Well, let's see how it works. I hope the sound is on. I hope the picture looks good. I hope there's not too much light. This is my first shot at the new setup. So we'll see you tomorrow, assuming this came out pretty well. And remember, where words fail, music speaks.